Hello and welcome to the International Pentagon Challenge. My name is Kyanite and together we'll be embarking on a very special Football Manager journey where we'll aim to try and win every major international competition in all 5 continents, forcing our hand to play with hundreds of different types of players and most importantly hopefully create loads of awesome different types of tactics along the way. Once that's complete, only then are we allowed to set our sights on the biggest of all goals, the FIFA World Cup. How many nations will we have to manage until we work our way to the top? How many dodgy names will we have to pronounce along the way? So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun along the way. Alright, hello everyone and welcome to episode 77 of the International Pentagon Challenge. So obviously a lot has happened since the last episode, and to be honest I find myself saying that quite a lot with how things are currently going with Mexico. So I believe in the last episode we left things at that, this 3-0 win against Canada, and the 3-0 win left us in a weird situation where we weren't sure whether or not we'd qualified to the World Cup, but those of you who are probably paying attention may have noticed that I did propose the possibility that that message that came up saying we'd qualified for the qualifiers or for the playoffs was because we'd only qualified with enough points for that 4th place spot. So as soon as we got a point against Panama and obviously rounding things off, getting revenge against Guatemala, so that was an extra 4 points in the bag. That then guaranteed us World Cup qualification because we'd surpassed that points mark, which is all good really as far as we're concerned. And as you can probably guess, this is going to be the first episode at the 2034 World Cup, which is actually being hosted in Argentina and Colombia out of all the countries, the holding nation, which is quite phenomenal, really. I think, did they qualify? They did. So in terms of what the groups look like, Group A, Argentina, Guinea, Japan, Scotland. Group B is us, DR Congo, Italy and Serbia. So we've got a pretty tough group. DR Congo, I feel like, have qualified by accident. It feels like they were quite fortunate to beat Cameroon and then top that group ahead of the Moroccans. So, you know, that should be a relatively easy game for us. But the Italians are obviously going to be very, very difficult. And really, it kind of comes down, in my opinion, to Mexico or Serbia for 2nd place. And I don't really think beating Serbia is going to be an easy feat whatsoever. The Balkan teams are always really good defensively, have some great talents coming through. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game, but it feels like if we can beat DR Congo and Serbia, then we should be okay in terms of going into the last 16. Main aim for us at this World Cup is to just hopefully get out of the group, which probably means we hold on to our job, which means we get a shot at the Gold Cup. Group C is Belgium, France, Iran, Paraguay. Group D, Chile, England, South Korea and Spain. So difficult group there for England, who are still, I believe, managed by Paul Simpson. Actually, let's take a look at like their average starting lineup. Is there anyone we recognise? Well, we obviously recognise Jepson. Tom Cleverley is back in the form of Dan Cleverley. And we obviously recognise Chidi and Steele, but that's really it from the kind of starting 11. So it goes to show how long ago it was that we last managed England. Next up is Group E, Costa Rica, Croatia, Portugal, Uruguay. Group F is Australia, Colombia, Ivory Coast and Poland. That's certainly an interesting group. Group G, China, Germany, Holland, South Africa. And Group H looks absolutely lit with Brazil, Egypt, Sweden and the United States. So, how have we got on? We obviously beat Guatemala. They obviously didn't manage to qualify for the World Cup in the end because they lost to Paraguay in the playoffs, so unfortunate for them. We actually beat Colombia. I scheduled in a friendly against the Colombians, knowing that they were the current kind of holders of the World Cup. We beat them 1-0 at home. In terms of the performance, Colombia maybe just about edged it, but, you know, we used our home advantage. We then beat Saudi Arabia 4-1 away from home. Good result that. And then beat Chile, who are another team who are going to be at the World Cup 1-0. We then lost to Spain 2-0. And while they were the better side, really, we had a lot of possession and one-to-one clear-cut chances. So I saw it more as a good performance against a team like Spain, who you'd probably expect to beat us anyways. We then drew, unfortunately, 1-1 to Croatia. Like, they had 2 shots on target and went 1-0 up, and it took us till the 91st minute to actually find the back of the net. It was one of them games where you just completely dominate. You have plenty of chances, plenty of the ball, plenty of shots on target, but your strikers just don't deliver, and that tends to happen when you've got Roger Iturbe up front. And then we beat Sweden 3-0, which is also another good friendly, because Sweden, as we saw, are also a team who are going to be at the World Cup. So, you know, a mixed bag of results, really, against teams who are going to be at this World Cup. The majority of them positive, bar the Spanish result, and on another day we'd have easily beat the Croatians. So in terms of new format, so I'm really cautious. I don't want this series to kind of keep on stretching, because it feels like, because we've missed out the Gold Cup, it feels like we've gone from a World Cup to a World Cup, and going from a World Cup to a World Cup at this current moment in time, in terms of where the International Pentagon Challenge kind of lies, is not really relevant, because we're trying to conquer continents, and we'll worry about the World Cup properly, you know, once we've conquered all the individual continents. And I'm hoping by that time we can easily bag a job like the Brazilian job, or the Argentinian job, or, you know, the French job, a proper nation like that who we can seriously contend for in terms of winning the World Cup. So a bit of a different format this episode. This episode is going to be DR Congo and Italy. Both those games are going to be crammed into this episode. You probably won't get as much detail, see as many highlights, as much tactical tweaking on the screen as we usually get, but I've given you the purpose as to why. If we do actually make it past the group stages, which I don't think we will, gut feeling, then, you know, we can go back to individual episodes, because that's when it gets really, really, really interesting. But other than that, really, the main thing on my mind right now is to get this World Cup out of the way, make sure we keep our job, and focus on the next Gold Cup. So one main thing I want to mention, everyone you've probably seen before on screen right now, except Antonio Rodriguez. So Dele Galadillo, if you remember him from a few episodes ago, is a man that didn't get the call up because he wasn't really match fit. He wasn't getting much game time, and he was 32 years old. And once I kind of realised that we had Antonio Rodriguez, who, when I first took the job, was kind of still at Chivas and wasn't really brilliant, he's really come leaps and bounds recently, ever since moving to Fulham in the Premier League. And I kind of mentioned this about a few of our players in past episodes as well, where I felt like the young ones, if they can get transfers away from the Mexican First Division, they'll improve very well and very quickly. And that's what has happened with Antonio Rodriguez. So he's not exactly going to be a starter, but he has come into the squad in place of Della Galido. So we'll leave that at that, and now we go to face DR Congo. Here we go then. So, a very interesting formation coming out from DR Congo. Kind of expected it, the 4-1-3-1-1, because it's their manager's favoured defensive formation. While, you know, you look at it on paper and it's narrow against narrow, and we'd benefit from playing obviously wide against it and isolating the fullbacks. I think we'll be fine as long as we play really wide ourselves and play a little bit more direct. To be honest, pretty much everyone on their team, other than maybe banning me, who's 35 now, plays for Montpellier, and Awam Kwabili, who plays for Başakşehir, I think is how you say it. Like, you know, you look at Makengo, he plays for Cambridge, for God's sake, so we should be able to beat them relatively easily. They scored most of their goals between the 16th and 30th minute, so, you know, we will bear that in mind. And they tend to get most of their assists from the right-hand side, and that's why Banza's slightly further up, because he's going to be the more attacking of the fullbacks, and that's really going to be very important for how DR Congo look to play. So we're going to make some tweaks to counteract that and jump straight into the game. Okie dokie, here we go then. Just ruined the entrance, I'm sorry guys. To play DR Congo. So while we're still on comprehensive highlights, most of kind of like the cutting down will be happening in the editing, because obviously I'm not going to sacrifice trying to grind out a result like kind of off camera, you know what I mean? So here we go. In terms of what we've done to try and counteract what they're doing, really, we've not really done anything to try and counteract how they're doing. We're playing a bit more direct than we usually do, playing a little bit wider than we usually do, and out of our fullbacks, we've... Oh, God. Well, that could have been a quick scare. Out of our fullbacks, because they tend to attack down their right-hand side, Chavez is going to be on support, whilst our right fullback in Hernandez is going to be the more attacking of our fullbacks. So Trujillo plays a ball, switches play out to Chavez down that left-hand side. Zamudio to Martinez. Lovely stuff from the Mexicans. Chavez whips the ball in. Ruiz to Collin, and there we go. Marcos Collin. An assist by it could be actually Martin Ruiz. That's certainly a combination we've seen a lot of in the build-up to this World Cup with the Mexicans, and I'm glad that we found an early goal, to be honest, because, you know, when you're the overdog, you really don't want the game to kind of become one of them kind of pressure cooker games where it's late on, you have to start throwing everyone forwards, and it leaves you vulnerable at the back. Hernandez to Martinez. Well, I'm not quite sure what Hernandez was trying there, to be honest. He's not had the best of games. He's kind of booked already. I'm hoping that his experience means he won't get sent off, but there's a big chance that he will probably come off in the second half, because we can't really take that risk with a player who's on a yellow card. If it seems like we're going to end up with more players getting yellow carded, because we have obviously a get stuck in shout on. Go on, Iturbe, Ruiz, there we go, nice stuff. If it does start to seem like we are getting too many players yellow carded, that is obviously something that would cause us problems potentially as the tournament carries on, because whilst we're now 2-0 up, we don't need to take those kinds of risks, and I'd rather players don't get yellow carded, which means that they're far less likely to be suspended for the last 16 in case we do actually reach the last 16. Header won by Kabangu, who's the target man really for DR Congo. Rincon with a through ball towards Iturbe. He is going to pick the ball up and he is going to cross it into Ruiz. And Ruiz, easy peasy lemon squeezy, in off the frame of the goal, gets his second of the game. Awesome stuff for El Tri. And let's see if we can make it El Cuatro with a header from a corner. It's cleared off the line. Unlucky there, but I'm quite satisfied with how the corner routine has gone so far, actually. Granted, we are only against DR Congo. I think it's kind of funny how DR Congo have qualified for the World Cup, and we obviously managed DR Congo's under-21s as our first job, so there is a part of me here that kind of wants DR Congo to do well, but yeah, it probably isn't going to happen. So Chavez. Direct ball towards Ruiz, who's onside. Iturbe shoots, and the curse of Iturbe really continues. It looked like it was easier to miss, really, but he just had two defenders planted in front of him. So it looks like we're going to go in at half-time with 4 goals to our name. Oscar Trujillo, centre-back, who's not really one of our starting centre-backs. He's only really in because our main starting centre-back is suspended, but credit where it's due to him. So here we go. Real good and positive start for us at this World Cup. I don't feel like we really need to make any changes. The only real change I'm going to make is I'm going to bring on Daniel Guzman, just because I don't really want to take that gamble with having Hernandez sent off. We've also put stay on feet on. We're 4-0 up. There's no need to take risks in terms of getting stuck in too much. Heck, even if we concede a goal or two, it won't be the end of the world. I mean, it might be, depending on how goal difference ends up looking like come the end of the group. But really, I think we'll be fine. So Rincon to Collin. Back to Guzman. And the lads here know that we've got a comfortable lead. They know that we don't need to overcomplicate things. And Mayasi's just scored an own goal. Bigger Mayasi. Who calls that? Now, first of all, what was he playing at with that own goal? Second of all, who on earth has a son and decides, oh, he's a big lad, let's call him Bigger? You know what I mean? What kind of name is that? Bigger. Bigger. I mean, to be fair, given what Karius did yesterday in the Champions League final, a part of me isn't really surprised that we've witnessed what we've just witnessed, to be honest. Can we make it 6, though? Guzman, lovely switch of play from one wing back to another. Ruiz with the header, and Kalalalala catches the ball. And there we go. Full-time, Mexico 5, DR Congo 0. We've had quite a few wins under my management with different nations at World Cups, but 5-0 certainly has to be one that goes down in the record books. In terms of Italy and Serbia, I was going to say they've drawn, they've not actually played. So, good performance, boys. Don't let it get to your heads. I'll be back with the next game against Italy. Don't go anywhere. You're probably not going to go anywhere anyways, because you can see the video's not ended. I don't know why I said that. See you in a second time. Okie dokie, so it's a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-2-3-1 really when the wingers push up coming out from the Italians. Now, we might recognise, or you guys might recognise some of these lads from the last time we played the Italians. I think we may have been managing Egypt. I can't quite remember. But a lot of them actually have a lot lesser pace than I thought they would do. D'Amico in particular at 33, very good technically, not the fastest. Perrin out on the left-hand side is really more of a wing-back and right-footed as well, so he's going to be playing inverted, he's not match fit either. Not very pacey at all. In terms of up front, they've got Rama up front, who plays for Man United, so he is very fast, and Teresi playing just off him, who also has a kind of injection of pace, but they're kind of central players, so I'm not really worried about them. So I think hopefully it gives us a license to roam in terms of our fullbacks going forwards. I've got a rough idea of the players I want to set opposition instructions on. They tend to score most of their goals from the right hand side through D'Amico, and they tend to concede quite a lot before half time. The fact that they kind of lack a lot of pace means that rather than trying to play through the middle, we're going to actually try and play in the wide areas. We'll consider changing a box-to-box to a Mazzala to get one of them players in a wide area as well, and try and get the fullbacks overlapping too. And because we're obviously going to be sitting deep and trying to counter-attack them, their lack of pace is actually something I think we can make work against them. So that is the game plan, ladies and gents. Okay, very quickly, just to summarise kind of what we've done. That is that. Standard mentality, deeper defensive line, higher tempo, width is the same but more direct passing, and we've made a few tweaks here and there. Here we go then, big game against the Italians. You know, you could say we're the same country because our flags look that much alike, except ours has something in the middle. I think it could be an eagle of some sort, I'm not really sure. If you've been watching this series long enough by now, you'll be more than aware of the fact that my geography is terrible. So Iturbe starts up front, and I was really tempted to play Rodriguez or whatever on earth he was called. You know, the young guy from America. You know, we're managing the Mexicans. He's probably called Rodriguez. 10 out of 10 logic from me. I felt like his pace could really give us something because of the counter-attacking direct style we're looking to play this game, which is quite different to what we did against DR Congo. But because Iturbe kind of got an assist in the last game, I thought it would be a little bit harsh to do that to him, and that's an early sign there from the Italians. Direct ball forwards, really surprised by how easily it was for Rama to get the better of Rendon there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And obviously we'll have to make sure we are awake from set pieces against the Italians. I believe they've made us actually, or made me pay from set pieces before in kind of the previous times we played against them. Benedetto to Teresi, who's the playmaker. Konare, who was the lad who we really likened to N'Golo Kante the last time we played Italy because of, well, he's kind of small. He's that kind of really non-stop, hard-working, ball-winning midfielder type of player. Ruiz is through. Can we get a tackle on Olayabi? No. I thought for a second then we were going to see another own goal like we saw against DR Congo. Chavez to Martinez. Lovely stuff from the Mexicans. If we can just thread this through to a striker. Ruiz is that striker. Ruiz strikes the ball, but it's caught by Chichone. But so far, so good. Iturbe towards the head of Collins. Zamudio will recycle. Plays it towards Rincon. Our centre-back on the edge of the box with one hell of a strike, but it's another good save by Chichone, and it's another Mexican opportunity to get the ball in the box from a set-piece. Iturbe to Colin. Colin shoots, and Konare gets in the way of the strike. So we're putting the pressure on here. You know, we're doing a bit of a Spurs. I don't know if it's the fact that we have quite a few Spurs players in our side, but we're certainly putting the pressure on here. Zamudio back out to Ruiz. Lovely stuff. And it's just about cleared by Olabi. Okay, starting the second half. So interestingly, they've still kind of got their injured player on. We've had to take our left back off because he's knackered from the first game, to be honest. That's one of the downsides with the kind of Mexicans we got coming through. We don't really have any decent fullbacks coming through, so our two main left backs are both over the age of 31, which isn't really ideal for a World Cup like this. I was kind of tempted to take Iturbe off and bring on the pacey lad, but I think I'll save him for at least kind of the 60th, 65th minute. We also have a winger on the bench who plays for Bayern Munich, who we could bring on to try and kind of give us another outlet in terms of looking to counter-attack the Italians. Right, we're going to now make some tweaks. So, left flank off. Rincon's not had the best of games. This is Ernesto Gonzalez, who plays for Bayern. We'll put him out on this right-hand side. Colin has also not had the best of games, but I don't want to change it around too much just yet. And I want to actually tell our goalkeeper to try and aim to distribute quickly to that right winger, so we can try and turn defence into attack quite quickly. And Ramirez will also come on for Iturbe to give us that kind of injection of pace down that right-hand side. This could backfire, but the truth is we're not expecting to win this game anyways. We've had a decent game so far. Cataldi is a player we're worried of, in terms of coming off the bench as well as the new striker. But the new striker lacks pace, so we've raised our defensive line a little bit. But Cataldi certainly so far looks like he's a bit of a handful, and our left back could struggle to deal with him. Benedetto to Perrin, who takes a pop at Gomez. It is, though, saved by the Mexican, who's been solid so far at this World Cup, to be fair. He usually does scare me a little bit with some of his strange things. They brought on Diego Meregali, who's apparently a legendary midfielder. Looks like he's playing kind of as a deep playmaker in the hole. Good tackle. Fantastic stuff there. Ramirez plays Ruiz through. It's a bit of a tight angle. I'm not sure if he can pull it back for someone. Benedetto, though, will clear. And again, that's just, a good example of how we can look to take advantage of this Italian side, the winger there coming into play. But I am worried that our fullbacks are getting caught out of position up against Italians who are doubling up on the wings with the fullbacks going forwards with an extra injection of pace, and that's a good save from Gomez. So we now need to adjust for that. So, it's going to be a difficult one, really. How do we protect our fullbacks? What we're going to do is protect one of the fullbacks. We don't need both to, be too overly defensive, and we'll make sure it's our left back in this case. 70th minute, and the clock is still ticking down. 75th minute, and the Italians are still trying their hardest to come at us. Canari is now playing right back. Direct ball from Rendon. Ramirez to Ruiz, who's going to now cross this ball into Colin, and we are going to take the lead against the Italians. It's Colin again, and now we need to make a switch or Rooney or two. So Ruiz can now drop down to a complete forward on support. Let's try and keep a hold of this ball a little bit better. Retain possession, drop our tempo down a little bit, dribble a little bit less, and hopefully we will now be okay. So 80th minute, no highlights coming out. Still no highlights. 85th minute, are we gonna guarantee qualification from this group already without even having to worry about the third and final Serbian group game? Ramirez, oh no, it's a bit of a poor ball there from the 21-year-old. Cataldi is gonna pick the ball up and try and find Edesi. Plays it back to Meregali. Lovely switch of play out wide to Benedetto, and we... Oh, what's the penalty for? Really? Really? Come on, Gomez. Oh, on the injured... Oh, he saved the penalty. Kill him. Get rid. Get rid. Yes! Come on. Can we... Oh, Canari. Come on, tighten up, boys. Tighten up. Oh, this is going to be a result and a half, this, if we manage to pull it off. Hoof it forwards. Or sideways, that'll do. Get rid of it, boys. Yep, okay. Waste time. That'll do me just fine. Gonzalez to Martinez. To Colin. What a lad. Ruiz is now through on goal. Colin, what a player Colin is. What a beautiful, beautiful Mexican man he is. Marco Colin. How much you want to bet he's not even called Marco? I don't actually think he's called Marco. Why did I just call him Marco? Could be called Marcos Colin. Go on, Ramirez. Have a pop on goal. Whip it in. One last chance for the Mexicans. And there it is. Martin Ruiz. Gonzalez with the assist. And we beat the Italians 2-0. Lovely jubbly. And the Mexicans are going into the last 16 of the World Cup. I'm not quite sure how we're doing this, playing a system I'm not a fan of and don't really understand, but we are. And, it kind of makes it obsolete, that Francisco Perrin penalty. So what a result that is for us. I am absolutely buzzing. I think it's only safe to be passionate with the lads. And there we go, we qualify for the second round. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.